Have you ever been sailing, when the water's calm, sun's out,
Hmm.
and then suddenly, bam, this rogue wave comes out of nowhere?
Yeah,
That's kind of what it feels like running a business sometimes,
it
right?
really is.
And that's what we're diving into today. We're talking about navigating those unpredictable waters
Oh, I like that.
using this really cool concept from Land and Sea: The Art of Wealth Creation, which we'll be referencing throughout this deep dive.
That's good.
So imagine this. Land is your everyday business.
You okay?
Products, competitors, the stuff you can control.
Right, right. The familiar territory.
Exactly. But the sea, that's where things get interesting.
Yeah.
It's the bigger picture, the external factors, think like the economy, trends, even the political climate.
The things you can't control.
Yeah, and the book argues you need to understand both to truly succeed.
Absolutely.
So there's this great example in the book. They talk about a bakery, a local bakery, that suddenly runs out of all things, wheat bread. Yeah, so on the surface, you might think, okay, maybe they just messed up their inventory, right?
Yeah, it's a simple mistake.
But it turns out it was way more complicated than that.
Oh, really?
What happened? What was the C factor?
Well, it turned out that there were these major transportation disruptions due to, COVID,
Ah, okay.
and that created this ripple effect throughout the entire supply chain.
Wow, so the bakery's wheat problem wasn't about wheat at all.
Exactly.
It was about a much larger global event, the sea, that they had no control over.
And that's a perfect illustration of why understanding the sea is so crucial, right?
It is. But, how do you even begin to prepare for that kind of unpredictability?
Well, that's where PESTLE analysis comes in.
PESTLE analysis. Okay, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's a framework for identifying and analyzing those external C factors that can impact a business.
So break it down for us. What does PESTLE even stand for?
Sure. So we've got political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental. Each one represents a different category of external forces.
Okay, that makes sense. So give us an example. How could the P, the political part, impact a business?
Sure. Let's say the government decides to implement a new policy, maybe a hefty tax on imported sugar.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Right. Now, if you're a bakery that relies on imported sugar,
You're in trouble.
that policy has a direct impact on your bottom line. That's the P in PESTLE.
Okay, so it's not just about reacting to these changes after they happen. It's about being proactive, right?
Absolutely.
So anticipating the sea change.
Precisely.
Land and Sea actually give this example about changing consumer attitudes towards fast fashion,
Yeah, that's a big one.
which falls under the S, the social trends, right?
Exactly.
And how that's forcing clothing companies to rethink their entire business models.
It's a prime example of how social trends can make or break a business. The source even talks about this company. I can't remember the name off the top of my head,
Sure.
but they were really struggling. Then they saw this trend early on
Towards sustainability. Yeah.
towards sustainable, ethical sourcing,
Hmm.
and they totally pivoted their business model.
Wow.
And they ended up thriving, even more than before, because they were prepared.
Because they rode the wave.
They did. They rode the wave.
Okay, so we've got political policies, economic shifts, inflation could be a big one.
Absolutely. Huge one.
Social trends, and what about T, technological advancements? I feel like that's huge E in today's world.
It's massive. And it's only getting bigger. The source talks about how, the rise of e-commerce
Mhm.
totally changed the game. And businesses that were slow to adapt, clinging to, like you said, their land, those physical stores,
Yeah.
they got left behind.
They got crushed.
They did.
And it's not just about, the technology itself, right?
No, absolutely not.
It's about understanding how those advancements will change, consumer behavior,
Right.
the entire playing field.
Completely agree.
Look at how social media has changed marketing. It's a whole different world now.
Yeah. And the source argues that technology is often a catalyst, right,
Yeah.
for change in other PESTLE categories too. Like, for example, all these new privacy laws
Okay.
popping up in response to advancements in data collection.
That's L, the legal side of things.
Exactly.
Man, it's all these factors are connected. They all influence each other.
The complex web.
It is. Okay, we've got to talk about E, environmental, because I feel like that's more important than ever.
Absolutely critical. And the source really emphasizes this point. Climate change, resource scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
These are major, major factors reshaping entire industries, from agriculture to manufacturing.
And you can't just ignore it anymore and expect to succeed.
You can't. The source is very clear on that. Ignoring these factors, it's not just, bad for the planet, it's bad for business.
It's bad for everyone.
Exactly.
Okay, so for everyone listening, we want you to think about your own land, right? Your job, your industry, your own ventures. What are those C factors that keep you up at night? Or, even better, what are those early signals, those little ripples that you can look out for to anticipate those big waves and maybe even ride them to even greater success? That's what land and sea is all about.
That's the key.
It really is.